Hello and welcome. Now today's video is going to be quite unexpected, and that is because I'm going to have to take Sy77 apart. And this is going to be fun because this thing is huge and heavy, but I'm going to have to. And that is because the disk drive has now goofed up. Let's try and load something from the disk, and I'll demonstrate. Firstly, this sounded absolutely beautiful. It was like a big beefy disk drive, and all of a sudden this sound started slowly happening. So when you try and load from the disk now it says error, bad disk. Just something, I don't want to put it upside down because I don't want to stand to damage the keys in any way, because this keyboard is absolutely beautiful. This actually might help. It's just a spare memory foam pillow. So if I put this on here, because I know that if I have this on my lap too long, I'll not be able to feel my legs anymore. Okay, this has worked out beautifully. Screws, please all be the same. Suppose I haven't restored any of these, so and they are from the 80s. This one's from 1989. The TX7 is from 1985. So it's about time things start clunking up now. But even still, they're repairable. This is what I like about tech from back then. You could actually open it out and repair it. We didn't live in so much of a disposable world. Things were built to last, and intentionally built to last. It was a point of pride that something lasted and was durable. So there we have it, the Sy77. Well, it's innards. Kind of reminds me of the inside of an Amiga 500 a little bit. Good to know where the battery is. The replacing it's going to be fun one day, because this is welded on. You cannot just take it off. You have to actually desolder the entire thing on board, but I've got battery holders. So today what we're looking at is this thing here. I was admiring it and then all of a sudden it kind of goofed up. To be honest, the inside is not so bad, as in it's actually quite clean. Okay, that's something else. It's like a tape recorder motor in this floppy drive. I've been thinking to myself, please don't have a belt, please don't have a belt. I've got a feeling this has a belt. And yes, I'm aware you can get Gotek drives for this, but I want to use actual floppy drive. If you've watched my Amiga and retro computing content. Okay, we're inside the floppy drive, and there is a belt, and that's that tape recorder motor. Well, it looks like one at least anyway. And I think the belt actually slipped, which is what the issue is. But while I'm here, I do have belts like this. I just don't know if it's going to be this size. Let me go check my... Yeah, this is starting to shrivel. So I think it really needs a new one. I do have a pack of belts. Just not sure if they're going to be the right size. They are wide ones like this. Actually, that's pretty smooth. Let me just very carefully turn this on and try it. Making sure not to touch anything down there, because that's the power supply. Oh, it's not an Amiga, is it? It's not gonna start working once I put a disc in. That's what my mind is. Let me think how to tackle this thing now. Oh, it worked. So it was the belt, though I didn't like the way it slipped there. Okay, so the issue was the belt. Let's plug that. Just being extremely gentle with this because I love this Sy77 and I do not want to screw it up. I've got a feeling this is gonna roll up and slip out because this is too wide. I don't recommend anyone working this way, like I'm doing this on my lap right now, but I cannot lift this all the way over there to my workbench, so it's not going to be fun doing that. I'm not sure if my workbench would accommodate it, actually. So yeah, it is what it is. And it's not like, God, this floppy drive is built like a tank. Now I've opened up a lot of floppy drives and none of them are as rugged as this one. Look how thick the metal is on the side and the top. This just makes me laugh. It's a tape deck motor. This is how hardcore this thing is. And probably why I love the beefy sound of it. I was gonna say this is... Look at this! It's not that I can replace this because this is proprietary. The connections are different here. It's just built differently, this thing, with its tape recorder motor in there. So what I'm going to do is actually very gently clean these heads. There was that I had for my Amiga, well I got it back in the day, and I still have it somewhere, that data hyper brush thing, the floppy drive thing. I would have used that if I could have... I bet you I find it now that I've done this. It's always the case, I just couldn't find it anywhere. One thing though I would love to do is oil these mortars, but there's just no... Sometimes mortars have like a little well that goes all the way down. These tape deck mortars, I can't seem to find a well. It's not that it needs it or anything, but I just thought while I'm here, why not? But I don't want to like disassemble the mortar itself and then ruin the whole thing. Because they're not easy things to disassemble. Anyway, the main thing is the belt has changed and I've greased the worm wheel here, so hopefully it'll operate a bit smoother. Let's test it out again. Okay, so that worked. Let's try and format a new disk. Wow, that's really nice. It works. Okay, that is working beautifully now. Let's put this back together. I'm actually impressed with the drive. I mean, I was impressed with the Amiga 500 Chinon drives because they're quite sturdy and well built, but this is on another level. Now, before we put it all back together, let's give it one last test. Let's see if it loads a complete bank. Yay, completed. Fantastic. Thing is, you actually have to get the belt just right, because if it's even a little too tight, it'll slow down the motor, and of course it's precision. If it's not spinning at the right rate, it will just fail, you know, and say error or something like this. So you gotta make sure that everything is right and don't faff around with the speed. It's digital data, of course, not analog. Like with a cassette, you can get away with the speed being a little too high or a little too low, but on things like this, no way. Oh, great. That hairy pile of screws. It's gone under the mini disc deck. Putting this thing back on. Actually, I give the inside of it a bit of a clean. It is dusty, actually. Okay, so together again. Okay, so let's load from disk. See if all is good. Okay, good. That's detected. Please work. Yes, it's completed. Let's have a look. I've heard this. This is from like an 80s Turkish song that I used to listen to. Okay, so for the demonstration of the SY77, I'm going to use my track here from 2001, Far World. And I'm going to have to convert some of these notes to MIDI and have them play back through the SY77. But what I'm going to actually do is use multi-voice. So multi-timbral, in other words. So it seems these samples which I've used in this track are not standard C tuning. That's not a C note. So, okay, so the first thing that needs to be done here is the tuning. Okay, so basically we need to get a C sounding like a G sharp plus a little bit more fine tuning. Okay, so let's go into utility and then going into sys, which we're already in, and master tuning here, the first one, enter. As you can see here, you can do note shift and fine tuning underneath. So from C, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we want 4 down, but then we want a little fine tune. So let's go into fine there. Take it up a little bit. I'll do +8. Okay, so ours is still a little low, so a little more fine tuning. Maybe take it to 16. Sounds a bit better actually. Okay, that's better. Okay, so that's -4 and the tuning is +20. The fine tuning is +20. Now we need to sort out the sounds, and I want to do the multi-timbre thing. So we go to multi-voice, multi-mod. That's the initial one which I did. We want to change that. Okay, so this is what I previously loaded, and I've got my own compilation of presets which I did, which I think, you know, the sort of sounds that I went around collecting that I would use the most. Okay, so let's go into utility, load from disk. All there, yes. Okay, that seems to be loaded. Yep, these are the ones. It's not backlit. I wish I could get a new display, but they are very expensive, and well, it's working for now at least. So, you know, something in the future I may have to save up for. We go into multi-voice, which it is there, and then we go into edit. And then the first thing is, I'm just going to edit the name. It's literally like T9 style texting on the old mobile phones. Okay, done that. Let's exit, go into the voice, because that's what we want to edit now. And then all these are the 16 MIDI channels, right? You can see they're all off right now. So you just assign whatever voice there is onto each of these MIDI channels here. Let's leave the first few MIDI channels free and start at 5. Okay, I've spent some time and I've selected a few interesting ones. So grand piano, done a harp, an OB string, so Oberheim string, so that's what I've selected so far. Now let's save these. So it's asking me to store, so I'll do yes. So it's completely stored them. There we go. Now I want to save these to disk so that, you know, if anything happens, I can reload them again. So let's go into utility, disk, save to disk, yes. Enter all data, yeah. Okay, done. Now we go into voice mode, and it'll just be the normal, the usual. If you go into multi now, it'll come up with what I saved, and that is, if you want to have a look into it, if you go into edit, voice, enter, then you will see. So it's literally, yeah. So what I'm gonna have to do now is not gonna, you know, work here, the stuff, because I'm gonna have to go onto the Amiga and select the MIDI channels for them to work off for the corresponding voices. And the interesting thing about this is that when you actually look at the samples here, is that other than the piano, I cannot remember exactly where I got the piano samples from, but most of everything else is sampled from the Yamaha Sy77. Back then I sampled it. The 12 string, the flute, the strings. Actually, I'm not sure about the strings. Let's hear them. Yeah, they are. The harpsichord is, I think... Okay, that's actually from my Casio CTK 450. So these are sampled from my keyboards back then. Spanish guitar, no, that's not from... That's from like my collection of samples. But yeah, most of them are from the Sy77 anyway, so it's sort of related to the Sy77 in some way or form. Well, there was a knock at the door and something exciting has just arrived. I'm guessing it's for the Akai S950 sampler over there. We'll find out in next week's video. Right, so I don't want to straight replace these samples. I'll set them up in an empty space, because I believe that's channel 5 actually. Okay, so that's working. I'll just set the other instruments up now, and I'll get back to you. Okay, what's going to make this interesting is that the 12 string from the Sy77 that I sampled back then sounds very different from the 12 string on the Sy77. To be honest, in this case, I prefer the original sounding one, the Sy77 one, but let's just see how this sounds. Yeah, I didn't like the Sy77's version of the 12 string because it just sounded too much like harpsichord, and it's not the sound I was after for this. So I've changed it to the fork 2, basically guitar. And I much prefer that. It sounds more closer to how I want it to sound. A very special thank you to my top tier patrons: Rich Garbett, Axel Dominator, Jason Marison, Corey Ostman, Brian Mitchell, Mark Bosek, and Monochrome Minako. Thank you all so much for your support. I really appreciate it.